It is late. The night lies heavy upon the world, like a worn velvet shroud. But in his face, a blue glow flickers, the light of a screen. He sits still, motionless, his fingers awake, though his soul longs to sleep. One more scroll, one more reel, one thought, too many. A smile that isn't his, a success that quietly shames him, a body that doesn't belong to him, a desire made of pixels, never quite fulfilled, and somewhere deep within, a voice like mist, faint and tender, asks, "Why am I doing this to myself?" He closes his eyes, but the images remain. They cling to the retina of his mind, drifting through his dreams, disturbing even the silence. He is not alone, and yet he feels so. How many of us no longer sleep because the world refuses to be still? And how many lose themselves in the noise while searching for an echo, for a sign that we are still seen, that we still exist? But when was the last time we simply existed without the need to declare it? When was the last time we felt the light of morning without the urge to share it? When were we last present, just for ourselves, and not for the world out there? Perhaps everything begins with a single question. What remains of us when no one is watching? Meister Eckhart once said, "Solitude is not a lack, but a gateway to inner freedom." But we have long since shut that gate, afraid of what we might hear echoing back. Noise used to be something external, an engine howling, a child crying, a conversation drifting down the street. But now the noise has changed direction. It comes from within. It speaks inside our heads, in voices that are not our own. It rushes, it flickers, it pushes in with every swipe, every like, every new notification whispering, "You must not be silent. Not now. Not today." We call it social media. But often, it is merely a marketplace of masks, an echo of vanity disguised as connection. What we hear there are not voices. They are signals, an impulse, a reaction, a ceaseless rhythm that erodes our innermost being. The Chinese philosopher Laozi once said, "The greatest revelation is stillness." He knew what we have forgotten. Truth is not born of noise. It emerges when the rushing ceases, when silence is finally given space. And this rushing, it is not loud, it is not painful, but it does not stop, like a drop that never stops falling, like a wind that always feels a little too cold. And in this noise, we forget how to listen, not to the world, but to ourselves. The subtle pull of the soul, the weariness of the heart, the quiet longing not to have to do anything anymore. Because there in the pauses, in the empty spaces, where once a sacred silence lived, now sits an algorithm whispering softly, more, faster, further. And perhaps this is the true sickness of our time. that we hear everything except ourselves. There is no loud command, no voice shouting, "Show yourself." And yet, we feel it, like a net of light, invisible, yet tightly woven across our lives. A new photo. Will it be seen? A message. Will it be answered? A silence. Will it be taken as weakness? We have begun to fragment our lives into moments worth showing. The morning coffee, the face lit just right, a quote that sounds wise, a smile we may not even feel, always reachable, always present, but inwardly, increasingly absent. It is a strange kind of war, one no one declared, a constant struggle to remain visible, not to be understood, only not to disappear. And the pressure, it is soft like fog, yet heavy as stone. It does not press us down. It pulls us outward, ever further from the place where we might once have been at home. For the more we wish to be seen, the less we truly see ourselves. What does that do to a person when every look at the self is filtered through the eyes of others? Jean-Paul Sartre once wrote, "Man is condemned to be free." His words carry a dark comfort. Freedom is beautiful, but it also binds. When we confuse it with attention, it becomes the pressure to constantly be present, even when all we long for is to disappear. And perhaps this is the true exhaustion, not that of the body, but of the soul, which has lived too long for an audience that will never touch it. There is no longer just one self. There is the self we show, the self we hope for, the self we hide, and then the self we have forgotten. In the world of profiles, we wear faces like clothing. Strong today, inspired tomorrow, broken yesterday. But that was offline, so it doesn't count. A fragment here, a glimpse there, but the whole, unrecognizable. Our identity shatters in the mirrors of platforms. Instagram whispers, "Be beautiful." LinkedIn demands, "Be important." TikTok screams, "Be entertaining." And we dance through filters and forget who is dancing. Sometimes we look at our own profile and don't recognize ourselves. A stranger, smiling, while within, everything has gone silent. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "Man is something that must be overcome." But he did not call for escape into the world. He called us to return inward, to see through the theater of masks and become that which lies beyond them. Mystics of all times have warned, whoever loses themselves in the outer world loses the light within. For the self we truly are does not speak in posts. It does not exist in likes. It lives in silence, in the unobserved moment, in the glance no one sees. And perhaps this is the quiet tragedy, that we forget ourselves while begging to be noticed, that we sacrifice our true essence for an image that can never touch what was once sacred to us. It is no longer the body that cries out, "I am tired." It is something deeper, something without a name, but heavy at the very center of our being. How many stimuli can a heart endure when it no longer feels anything? The philosopher Walter Benjamin once said, "We live in an age of overstimulation, in which even the heart has become nervous." He foresaw the madness of modern life long before it unfolded. The constant stream does not shake us because we are weak, but because it never stops. We are bombarded with colors, sounds, thoughts, images, and we don't even notice that our soul has long been pleading for shelter. What was once meant to be a window to the world has become a floodgate. And through this gate flows everything: anger, envy, comparison, expectation,